Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video I'm going to show you how you can design your very own pumpkin t-shirt for Halloween. This is a really cute t-shirt either to make for yourself or for your parents or your grandparents. It's got all the names of their children or grandchildren on it and it's a really cute design. But of course you don't have to stick with pumpkins. We'll be creating this in Design Space so you could add any image that you want. In fact, you don't even have to do it for Halloween. You could maybe even substitute in Christmas images instead and use this as the perfect Christmas present. So let's get started with designing our t-shirt. Open up Design Space and start a new project. Go into Templates and choose a shirt by typing into the box, and then select the best type of shirt for what it is that you're going to be making. You don't have to use a template if you don't want to, but I do find it makes things easier when positioning all of the different pumpkins and names, just to make sure you're kind of following the overall shape that a t-shirt needs. You have a drop down at the top so you can choose if you're making a shirt for a man or a woman, and then you can choose the size in here. Now this is all quite, generic, so you will need to check the size before you cut it right at the end to make sure it fits. But for now, this is just really good to help us get that general shape right when we're adding our designs. So I'm going to go and choose some pumpkins. So let's go over to Images and type in pumpkin. Have a little look, see what's here. That one's quite cute. Because this is to go on a t-shirt, I don't want to choose ones that have too many colours in because that will take a long time to make the t-shirt and it might be quite difficult to line things up. So I'm going to kind of choose ones that are a little bit simple. So I like that one, I think that one's cute. Now I think those two are good, so I'm just going to click Insert Images and have these ones. Okay, that one is a lot more colours than I thought it was going to be. Blimey. Okay, well I quite like this one to be the grandma pumpkin, but I am going to simplify the colours on it because there's loads at the minute. So I'm going to go into Colour Sync, which is the top button above next to the Layers panel. And see, at the moment this is 3 shades of orange. That's way too much. Let's see, what's that one even doing? Oh, that's the other one. The green can be the same, the pink's already the same, and then I've got a brown and a black. Let's just make it all black. So Colour Sync is really handy for changing things so that they're the same colour. So if you've only got a couple of colours of vinyl, it can be really helpful to do that to make sure you're not going to end up having to cut loads and loads of different colours. So now I think I'm going to hide that layer on that pumpkin, although it does seem to be doing something to the eyes. Okay, maybe I do need that one to be in a slightly different colour. Alright, so I need 2 oranges. So now I've kind of simplified this a bit. So now it's 2 oranges, 1 black, 1 green and 1 pink. And that'll cut out all of them. So let's start with assembling our design. And this one is going to be for 3 grandchildren. So I'm going to duplicate this little pumpkin a couple of times. So just right click on it and then press duplicate. And then position them around the grandma. I need to add some text around this. So go into the text tool and type out the name. So let's say grandmas to start with. You can add whatever you want in here, so it might be, Nana or Gran or even, Mum, Dad, Grandpa, whatever it is. And then we're going to change the font. So at the very top, click into the drop down and choose your font. I've downloaded one from Creative Fabrica called Halloween Pumpkin, which I think will work really cute for this. So it's just a funky font with these nice, fun shapes to the letters. Design Space spaces out your letters quite a lot and I want them to be a bit closer together. So in the box which says letter space, you can reduce that number down to get your letters closer to each other. So I think that's going to need to go there. So I need to move all my pumpkins down. So I can select all of the pumpkin groups in the layers panel and then click and drag to move them all at the same time. I'm going to add some more text. And this time it should save the font for you, so you don't need to select it again. And then I can add that underneath. Let's make it a bit smaller. And then I think I'm going to change the colour of this so that it's orange and maybe green. That'll show up nicely. So now that you've got your text for there, you can just start playing about with the positioning so that you're happy with where it's all looking. And then you can start adding the names of the grandchildren. So let's go into text again and add some names. What shall we choose? There we are. And so that I got the font size the same for all of them, I'm going to right click on this one and duplicate it for the next name rather than just making a new text box. Here we go. And then one more. There we are. So if some names are a lot longer than others, you might have to make the longer ones a bit smaller, but if you can, I think it does kind of look a bit nicer if they're all the same size. So there we go, that is the basic design for my t-shirt done. I'm just going to go into Colour Sync one more time because I think my words is a different colour to the tops of the pumpkins and I want to make it the same. So I just drag all the S's, which is my words, over to that, and now they would cut out from the same colour. So this design in total now has the same amount of colours as it did before. It's got 5, so black or brown for the pumpkins and the names, darker orange, a lighter orange just for the grandma pumpkin, and then green for the word and the top of the pumpkin, and then pink for the 2 little circles. So this is now ready for you to get it ready to cut. So that was really nice and easy. As I mentioned at the beginning, you might have to resize this depending on your exact t-shirt that you're making. So go ahead and give your t-shirt a little measure and work out how big you want to make your design. I will include in the description of this video a link to a really helpful article I found on another blog, and this blogger has written out recommended sizes for when you're cutting things out to go on t-shirts. So I thought that was really handy and would be a good thing. But the easiest way to resize so that everything changes at once is to select all your layers, so click and drag around everything, and then over in your layers panel at the top, press group. And now when you click and drag, it's going to resize everything together and make it all stay in proportion. Don't forget to save your design before you go to cut it, just in case anything happens and maybe Design Space crashes, or perhaps you just want to do the design now and cut it out a different day. You can save easily by clicking the save button at the top and then just give it a name and hit save. And Design Space will go away and think about it for a while and then give you this nice blue message once it's been saved. And that means you can open up the project anytime you come into Design Space and make changes if you want to, or you can recut it at a later point if you want to do that. One more thing you might want to do before you go to cut is to attach all of the bits that are the same colour together. I'll show you why you might want to do that. So if I click Make It Now, you can see I've got all of the different parts of my design, but they've all just been lined up along the mats. So you absolutely could cut it like this, but it's going to be really hard to place all your vinyl right in the correct places because you've got all these little pieces. So it can be easier to cut it out in the exact position, which means when you weed all the excess off of your vinyl, all the bits that are left will be in the right position. So you'll have these 3 pumpkins around this one. So to do this, we'll first need to ungroup everything. So click on your group and press ungroup. And then if you've got any other groups inside of there, you'll need to ungroup them too. Now these pumpkins around the edge have come with a grey layer that's hidden at the moment. I know it's hidden because there's a little eye which has a cross through to show that it's not visible. So I'm going to delete those grey ones because I don't need them. But now I can go through and select everything that's the same colour. So let's start with this dark orange. Click on one layer in the layers panel, then you can hit Control on your keyboard and choose the other ones. There we go. So now I can press attach. And don't worry that other bits have been hidden, it's just because the layer positioning has changed. I'm going to do this with all the others as well. So here are my black or brown bits. Let's attach them. And again, don't worry that your design looks a little bit different, that's fine. You can click and drag things about to reposition it, but there'll be some little bits that aren't quite right, and that's okay, we can fix it later. For these two bits of the pumpkin, I'm actually going to weld them together now that they're the same colour. And weld means merge the layers together into one, because at the moment you can see it's going to cut the stalk, and then this flourish bit goes behind it, but I want to join them together in one shape. So with both those layers selected, I can just hit weld, and they'll join together. And then I'm going to attach that with the word grandma, and there we go. So the last one is these two little dots on the face, which I'm actually going to leave separate. They can just be put on separately. I think that's going to be easiest. And then the bright orange pumpkin layer, which again I will do separately because that's the only thing that's that layer. Okay, so where's my green one? Let's move that to the bottom and move them to the top. Okay, so now I have things attached. The important bit is that we save it again. So let's go save as, pumpkins. Let's say attached, because we don't want to have to do that step every time we open this project, but we still want a copy of our original one saved in case we want to make changes, because it'd just be a bit easier on the one we saved last time. Okay, so now I can select all my layers and group them once more, and then resize to however big I want to make it. So let's go for 10 inches wide. Okay, so now when I press make it, all of my colours that are the same are now going to be in position, which is going to make it so much easier for me to layer everything together out of my vinyl. Now this does use more of your vinyl because obviously you've got all the spaces between things where other colours are going to be, but sometimes it's worth using a little bit of extra vinyl to make it so much easier when you are going to be assembling everything together. Now one really super duper important thing to remember, if you're cutting this out of heat transfer vinyl or HTV, so it's going to go onto a t-shirt or you're going to iron it onto something, you need to mirror all of your mats. So on this screen, just tick the little box which says mirror, and it's going to flip them round. And that's because of how this vinyl works. You iron it on so that it's kind of upside down, and then when you peel off the backing of the HTV, it will all have switched around so it's the correct way when you're looking at the t-shirt. So make sure you mirror your designs for heat transfer vinyl. If you're using removable vinyl instead, so maybe you're putting this onto a canvas that you're not going to iron, you're just going to stick it on, then you don't need to mirror it. So it's only if you're going to be ironing this that you need to do the mirroring. So now I can hit continue, choose my material, and get started.